Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it's time for another franchise ranking video today, and in today's video it's going to be for another video game franchise. And this is a first-person shooter franchise made by the company Insomniac Games. Well, 3 of them in this ranking are by Insomniac, the other one is not. And these are the games I've played for a franchise which in my opinion, got better and better with each game it did. And this franchise I'm going to be ranking from best to weakest, in my opinion, is Resistance. So, this will be a video talking about the trilogy games I played on PS3, with a bonus talking about a game on PS Vita in the franchise. The only one that I've not played is the PSP video game, Resistance Retribution. I've not played that. So, this will be ranking mainly the trilogy with a bonus part talking about the PS Vita game. I want to put that on my ranking. So, this will be from best to weakest, in my personal opinion, because, in my opinion, none of the games are bad. They just get weaker and weaker, in my opinion, not worse and worse. That's my opinion. So, if you guys don't agree with me, that's absolutely fine. But please respect my opinion just like I respect yours. So, starting off this franchise ranking then. So, in first place for me is actually going to be, of course, the latest installment out of the main trilogy. And that, of course, is none other than 2011's Resistance 3. So, when I played this game, I approached it, hoping it will be good, because the things about the first 2 games I had issues with, which made me, have lots of rage-induced moments. But I will, however, say that I'm actually really glad that I got into this game, because, in my opinion, it's the best out of the franchise. And it has a great story where you play as the character Joseph Capelli. He's a really good protagonist who was introduced in the previous game. In this game, you play as him, and I thought he was a really good character, in my opinion, with a very good story. I must also say, great graphics for its time, which in my opinion hold up really well. Like, it's very impressive how it was a big step up in terms of graphics compared to the previous games. Very impressive in my opinion. And I also sort of love how they changed the game's genre, because the first 2 games have like a military soldier style approach, whereas this game, however, is a post-apocalyptic survival game. But despite this change of genre, it's still, in my opinion, a really fun game, because despite now being a survival game, it has lots of really cool action scenes, which are brilliant to play through. And I must also say more easier than the first 2 games too, as well, in my opinion. Which is why, compared to the first 2 games, the chance of me having rage-induced moments playing the game was really rare, because I had lots of fun playing it. So, to me, it's the best out of the franchise, and I really hope one day we get another Resistance game. Maybe our same team who made this game, because I really think that Insomniac have lost their touch recently, but I really hope that the same team who made Resistance 3 get a chance to do another Resistance game, and hopefully it'll be a really great game. But if I was to give Resistance 3 a score out of 10, because it's not my favourite in the franchise, I would definitely give it, for me, a full-blown 10 out of 10. Yeah, I definitely love Resistance 3. To me, it's the best out of the franchise. Then my second favourite, well, of course, the franchise's second installment to its trilogy, which is 2008's Resistance 2. Now, I think it's definitely, for me, an improvement to the first game, in my opinion, on many ways, really. It's how you do a sequel, in my opinion, in terms of, like, gameplay, because it was slightly easier for me to understand, in my opinion, and I got used to it in terms of the gameplay much easier than the first game's gameplay, in my opinion. And the character you play as is Nathan Hale, who returns from the first game. He's a good character, in my opinion. And the story's really good. And it has lots of good action, of course, which is what you need for a first-person shooter. And I thought it was definitely really good, in my opinion. And the graphics, in my opinion, were also really good too as well for a 2008 video game. And also in terms, as well, of achievements, this game also was the first one in the franchise to have trophies, which was brilliant. So, it felt good to play the game and get a sense of achievement when you do something, really. Something that, of course, the first game did not have. But if I was thinking about qualities, unfortunately, this game did have rage-inducing moments, in my opinion, for me. Such as, for example, the boss fights. They were definitely, in my opinion, a pain and very difficult, which made me pretty angry when playing it. And without spoiling the ending of the game, I will also say that, in my opinion, the game's character, Nathan Hale, in my opinion, deserved better. I'm not going to say why I think he deserved better, but I was not a fan of how the game handled him at the end of it, in my opinion. I think he deserved much better, but I'm not going to say why, though. I'll let you guys find out for yourselves if you decide to play the game one day. But nonetheless, I still think it's a very good game. Definitely, in my opinion, better than the first game. And if I was to give it a score out of 10, I would definitely give it a very solid score of 9 out of 10. Now, my third favourite is actually going to be, of course, this franchise's bonus addition to the games, because this would have to be, of course, the PS3's exclusive game in the franchise, of course, which is none other than 2012's Resistance Burning Skies, which is actually not made by Insomniac. It's actually made by a company called Nihilistic Software that actually developed the game. And it's definitely, in my opinion, a really good game, and definitely, in my opinion, very impressive for a PS Vita video game, because just like the other games, it's a first-person shooter but on a PS Vita portable console. And in my opinion, they transferred Resistance gameplay really well to a portable console. I think they did really well at it. And with a very good story where you play as a character called Tom Riley, who's a firefighter. I thought it was really good, in my opinion, with a good story. And it definitely did a very good job carrying over the gameplay from the console versions to a portable console. I think they did really well at it. And I also appreciate how the game also featured a weapon wheel returning from Resistance 3. I really appreciate how we brought that back into this portable game. I think it did really well at it. And I must also add good graphics for its time as well, for like a Vita game as well. Because understandably, of course, Vita games may have a downgrade in graphics when you compare it to console games. It is understandable, but this game's graphics, in my opinion, were really good. Although I would say my favourite first-person shooter game on PS Vita is Killzone Mercenary. That's my favourite Vita exclusive game of all time. But I still think the graphics in Resistance Burning Skies were really good, in my opinion, for a Vita game. But bad qualities I could say, though, is unfortunately there were some rage-inducing moments for me, such as, for example, the final boss fight, in my opinion, was an absolute pain. That's what I'll say. And also, as well, I was also not a fan either of, as well, how the game was also pretty short, because compared to other games, which in my opinion had a pretty long story, and which in my opinion was well-paced, in my opinion, the second and third games in particular, this game only had a few missions, which I personally wasn't really a fan of, because I loved the game and I wanted more, but unfortunately the game was pretty short, which was a shame. But nonetheless, Resistance Burning Skies is a good addition to a franchise, and also when it comes to the main character, it also baffles me how he's able to use weapons when he's a firefighter. Like, how can he use guns so well when he's a firefighter? Bit confusing in my opinion, but if I was to give a game a score out of 10, I'd probably give it maybe a solid score of 8.5 out of 10. So, it's a good game in my opinion, a good Vita game, a good addition to a franchise, but not good other than what I just covered. And now on to my least favourite franchise. It's still a good game in my opinion, but I'd unfortunately regard it as my least favourite, of course, which is Resistance Fall of Man, the first game in the franchise. Now, what I will say is, the game is good, in my opinion, you know, because Nathan Hale's a good character who you play as in the game, and the action, for what it is worth, is really good, and I also appreciate how it was more innovative than Call of Duty, in my opinion, in terms of the gameplay style. You know, that's why I'd say this franchise is better than Call of Duty, in my opinion, when it comes to first-person shooters, because it tried something different in each of the games, which I really appreciated. Especially how the third game was a survival game, not a military game. I really appreciate that change, because I think they did it really well, in my opinion. When it comes to his first game, the story mode, in my opinion, was good, and the action was really good too, and the character plays is really good too, and the graphics, in my opinion, for 2006 were very impressive, I must also say too. And I like how, of course, it took place in familiar locations for me in the UK, which I thought was pretty cool, how it took place in my country, which was brilliant. Taking place in the UK in 1951. When it comes to my issues with this game, though, unfortunately, out of the games, this one was the most rage-inducing game for me, which I was not happy about, because it's actually because of rage-inducing moments that I actually gave up on the game, because I've not finished it, guys. I've not finished the game, and I don't want to, because the part was almost like a shooting part with lots of like big enemies stomping around on a street, and it just got way too hard and overwhelming, so I just gave up. It was just too hard, in my opinion. I took a break from playing the franchise, and I didn't play Resistance 2 until like about a few weeks later, because I was just so annoyed. But nonetheless, the game is still a good game, nonetheless, despite my issues with it when it comes to getting rage-induced moments in it when playing it. But I will say, though, for what it is worth, it's a good game, despite all those issues. And if I was to give a score out of 10, I'd probably give it a decent score of 7 out of 10. That's my opinion. So, that's how I'd rank Resistance games, guys. So how it goes for me, of course, is... First place for me, of course, is my personal favourite, being Resistance 3. Then my second favourite is Resistance 2. Then my third favourite, as part of the bonus game to this ranking, is the PS3 exclusive Burning Skies. And then my least favourite would have to be, of course, Fall of Man, the first game. One day I might probably play Retribution, see how that goes one day. If I get a PSP, that is we'll see how that goes. So, Anyway, guys, this is me, of course, doing my ranking of Resistance games from best to weakest in my opinion. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to let in the comments what you guys think of Resistance. Have you played the games? How would you ramble or think in the comments below? Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe moves to come in the future. And I'll see you all later.